Hello and welcome to Conscious Content TV. I'm Melissa here at the Conscious Life Expo 2014 at the LAX Hilton, and I'm here with Filippo from Life Changes Network. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you for asking me to speak with you.
Yes, thanks for coming on the interview. And so I wanted to know today, what is it on your network that's all about the life changes?
You know, it's interesting. As I was going through changes in my life, and people were watching this because I was very vocal about them, I would share with friends, I learned this today, or I got to find a way to change this in my life. And people would say, this should be a radio show, this should be a TV show, because they were learning in the process while I was learning. So it wasn't just, I wasn't going within and being quiet, I was being very vocal about it. Put this on the radio. So we started a radio show where not only we talk about my life changes, I mean, that's interesting, but there are so many people going through not only life changes of their own, but they are people that have gone through life changes, learned how to help other people go through their life changes, and also people that are out there changing the world in some positive, beautiful ways, like you.
Awesome, thank you. So what kind of life changes do you talk about on your show?
Wow, everything. Because, the funny thing is I say, in life, there isn't anything that doesn't change. A lot of people have said that, scientists and everybody, but so the only constant is change. So technically, anything is changing, and anything is a potential subject matter.
What about your top 3 big subjects?
Yeah, and I was about to say, no matter what we talk about, we like to look at it from a positive perspective.
Okay.
So, like if you're in the present moment, then you can handle it better. So whether it be like one of my favorite interviews was a beautiful young lady who was a model, and then she got into a car accident and she went through the front window, the windshield, and then she had surgery all over her face, and so she had to find a different way to look at beauty. And I think she's beautiful now, and she's still beautiful within and always was. She didn't find that before, but she found it afterwards, and now she's sharing it with other people.
Awesome.
A sportsman who's out there, he actually is a martial artist, and one of our country's greatest martial artists. And you think, wow, he's up there messing people up in sports, but he's got this really big heart, and outside of the game, he's out helping people start their businesses and helping them in their lives. And it's like looking at how we're all part of this together and how we can affect each other in a positive way. So I would say sports, I would say health, and I would say science, really big on science, and how science might be catching up to the spirituality, or maybe spirituality and science are kind of growing up together, and I like that.
Yeah, mixing it together. So speaking of conscious business, how are you turning your radio show into a conscious business?
I'm really glad you asked that, because it's this topic of a talk I'm going to give in just a couple weeks in Baltimore, and it is something that so many people are having such a hard time doing.
Exactly.
They're the people that...
We need help.
Yeah, they're the people that might say, let's be spiritual about it, and we kind of throw the baby out with the bathwater. There are some practices that we could use that maybe aren't being used in the most conscious way today in business, but we could use them in a conscious way. And then there are the people that just could think that all this is BS, and they just need to stay the course and make money and do things the old way, and they don't want to. They don't care to incorporate any of that at all. But with the right frame reference, they too say, I kind of get how that might actually help. So we have to find a bridge.
Exactly. So what is that bridge between business and spirituality? How do you do that yourself?
Gosh. I hope I have the answer for me, and I'm looking for it, because it's constantly changing as we're learning and evolving. I would have to say that I'm looking at and I'm listening to the best business consultants that I know, that are friends and leaders out there in the community, and I listen to what they give me, and then I turn to all the beautiful spiritual leaders that say, oh, you need to do a business about this, and your business needs to incorporate this, right? So I then look at the two of those and say, how can I bring this into this and that into here, and find the middle ground that works for me right now.
Okay.
So
like the balance.
The balance.
Yeah.
The balance. And as things change, then the balance will be in a different place. So constantly evolving. But if you're looking for specifics, I would say that there are certain models that have been built that still work today that can be modified with some consciousness being thrown in. So as we look at whether it's even something as simple as accounting or ways to do accounting, and so all of it's going to change. But in the meantime, it's like, what can we use of this, and how can we infiltrate the spirituality and the consciousness? It's not a simple answer.
It's very true. It's not simple.
Talk
It is. Awesome. Well, you got to check out Filippo and his talk. Where can they find you?
Oh, at lifechangesnetwork.com. Simple as that.
Awesome. And so that's how we're doing the balance and integration, and the bridge right now is through conscious media. So right now you're watching Conscious Content TV, and then you can also listen to Filippo's radio show. Are you actually able to make that a business for yourself, or is that a side job?
No, it's definitely a business, and it's growing all the time. I love how people are starting to look at it now more and more as a business, saying, wow, this is really viable. People are really wanting this information, right?
Yeah.
So many people are out there saying, oh, the reason this isn't on TV is because nobody cares about that. But the more of us are out there actually presenting this information, the more advertisers are going to want to present on shows like ours, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it is a business becoming more of a business, and I trust in the future, through exactly the kind of conversation and the questions you're asking me, that it'll be an exemplary business of how to do business and consciousness at the same time. That's my hope for our business.
Yay. I love it.
And
yeah,
yours.
thank
And
you.
ours.
Exactly. And maybe what's like a piece of advice you can give somebody who's watching who is into spirituality and wants to start their own business, and maybe like what's the first thing that you first did to get your foot in the door?
I actually came from a business background first.
Mm-hmm.
The consciousness and the spirituality kind of was evolving around it. So what I actually did was I took all of the business knowledge that I had. I worked for one of the top 3 companies in the world for many years. And then I said, oh, I'm going to get conscious and I'm going to do this. And I threw all that information and all that business knowledge away.
Out the window.
Out the window. And I started, okay, how do we do things consciously? Well, maybe how we do things consciously is not to throw away something that I've learned. Maybe I was in that business for a reason.
Yes.
Right? To learn something. So what I would say is, with anything, as a life coach, I actually say this to my clients, so it's the perfect question, is stand here now and say, what is it I know? What is that is true for me? Let's not just jump into something else like, oh, it's now about this, it's no longer about that. Who we are is about all of that as well. We're part of all of that. So it's like standing here now, we can not only take into account everything that we've done that has got us here and say, okay, how can I use that to move and expand into this new thing? But if you're actually here, you can also assess, what is the world looking for right now? Like, what way can I bring to the world something that I want to give, or that I feel I can be doing instead of what I used to be doing? Does that make sense?
Yeah, kind of integrating what you already know with what is coming forth is your new gift to the world.
Right. So if I were training somebody on a job and giving them all this information, and then I say, oh, I actually need you to do this job over here, that doesn't mean throw all that information away. I just trained you on all of that. It's like, maybe you can use most of that here. It's just that we haven't seen how to do that, which is a lot like your question about how do we bring consciousness into business, right?
That's beautiful. I think a lot of people here can integrate well because we're so multi-talented and have so many gifts, and when you kind of are going into the consciousness field, you can start to see all the different connections between what you've learned when you were younger and why you went those different experiences, which is what you were touching on. So to sum it up, basically, is just to integrate all your knowledge into the new thing, right?
Yeah. I like
great.
that.
Awesome.
You heard it here on Conscious Content TV.
Great. Awesome.
Thank you,
So
Melissa.
that's what I'm trying to do with Conscious Content TV, and then also my healing work for doing vocal toning, Reiki, and EFT.
We should do some vocal toning right now.
Okay, ready? So
Okay.
we'll we'll tune in by and tune out at the same time, ending
Okay.
this. So we'll do tone.
Okay.
1, 2,
You pick it.
3. Okay. You're watching Conscious Content TV. I'm Melissa, and this is Filippo. Bye.